Hello, One Great Earth, where we cover calamities and catastrophes. Today is going to be a little different. We're not going to be looking at satellite imagery of the area because there's not much new to look at. I would have to keep going back from December to February to March, and there's more news than just what's getting bombed. There are now 31,302 Palestinians and about 1,139 people killed in Israel since October 7th. Out of the main bulk of people that have been killed, it's been 12,300 children, 8,400 women, with over 72,000 people injured. That includes over 8,600 children and 6,300 women. In the West Bank, there's been 424 people killed, including more than 113 children and more than 4,600 injured, at least 9,000 detained. Also, 9,000 detained, 3,500 new settlements, illegal settlements being built. In Israel, 1,139 people were killed and at least 8,700 were injured. "134 Israelis remain captive, and over 500 Israeli soldiers have been killed. It is devastation. 1 in 75 people in Gaza have been killed. 1 in 75. There's nowhere safe to go. In this story we're about to read, takes place here, Deir al-Balah, central Gaza. The story was published yesterday. Al Jazeera. In Gaza, babies have no more nappies, milk, as Israeli bombing continues. Nappies are, of course, diapers. So if I say diapers interchangeably, it's just have it. A shortage of nappies because of Israel's blockade has led to prices skyrocketing and mothers looking for alternatives. Babies bring joy, but these Gaza families cannot even find the basics to take care of them. Deir al-Balah, Gaza. On a cold night 3 weeks ago, Ada al-Bawi rushed from the makeshift tent she had made home to towns nearby El Aqwa Martyrs Hospital and, amid the ongoing war, gave birth to her daughter. The birth was a struggle because of a shortage of medical staff to care for her and not enough anesthesia to mask the pain of receiving stitches. Her baby girl was born healthy, and a whole new struggle started for 29-year-old al-Bawi as she started searching endlessly for a necessity many other mothers take for granted: diapers. Securing nappies have become al-Bawi's most daunting challenge. Like many mothers in Gaza, as prices skyrocket for the items made scarce by the siege imposed by Israel. Every day is a struggle to afford diapers for my baby girl, especially with another child who still needs them, the mother of 4 told Al Jazeera. For al-Bawi, to buy 2 packs of nappies before the war would have cost less than $10, but that is no longer the case. Imagine needing $75 to $85 just for nappies, she said. Is this a sustainable situation? al-Bawi has had to turn to other solutions. Sometimes she heads to the nursery of a nearby hospital, hoping that they will have some to spare. In the image here, finding even one nappy is an incredible struggle for parents of babies in Gaza. Other times, Al-Bawi dries used nappies in the sun, hoping to reuse them despite the hygiene implication. And sometimes she is forced to leave her baby in a soiled nappy until she can get more, which inevitably takes a toll on the baby's delicate skin. But every cent Al-Bawi spends on nappies is a cent less for other necessities. If nappies are this expensive, how can I afford any other supplies? My children and I have only eaten one meal since yesterday evening. Can't even buy food. Needless to say, where nappies are scarce, baby formula will be too. Nariman Abu Assad gave birth to a daughter on October 9th, 2 days after the war began. At the current prices, I can't even buy food for my children, she said. My baby daughter gets awful skin infections because I can't get nappies, she said. There's no baby formula even. Providing milk and nappies has become hell for us. This war is a war on our children and their lives. What did they do to have to endure such conditions? With the vast majority of Gaza's population displaced and desperately needed aid only trickling in, health officials reported that 20 people in the enclave have died from malnutrition and dehydration. The World Food Programme said on Tuesday that Israel must allow road access to northern Gaza to avoid famine, highlighting how desperate the situation is. Searching for substitutes. People have been driven to trying alternatives for the scarce nappies. Local factories are making nappies substitutes using available raw materials such as tissue paper, medical cotton, batting, cloth, and nylon. Yosef Darwish, a worker making nappies, explained that the price of locally made diapers is similar to the pre-war price. There's a lot of demand from families, even though these nappies are not as good and are not manufactured according to health specifications, Darwish said. But even this alternative may not last as raw materials are dwindling, Darwish pointed out. We're depleting our existing supplies, and with border closures since this war's outbreak, these resources are on the verge of running out, he said, referring to the more severe limits on the entry of aid to Gaza imposed by Israel. We're always looking for solutions from scratch in Gaza. But how much longer can mothers and children endure the scarcity and inflated prices of nappies? This situation has become unbearable. In the image here, Shinar's mother-in-law is cutting up clothes to create makeshift nappies. Shema Shinar, who gave birth to her first child during the war, has also had to turn to alternatives. Her mother-in-law is cutting up clothes to turn them into diapers. I have no choice. It is not easy because fabric isn't comfortable. It causes skin irritations and abrasions, she told Al Jazeera. I also need to wash it constantly. As you can see, we live in a tent and there's no water. Shinar fled from Gaza City to Deir el-Balah to escape the fighting. She went from North Gaza to Central Gaza. She had been on a short visit to Egypt only 2 weeks before the conflict began, not knowing that the timing of her return would be disastrous for herself and her then unborn child. I never imagined in my life that my child would be born in such conditions. Shinar said, how can I not be able to provide nappies for my child, not be able to put him in a clean bed and a clean place instead of this cold tent? My child is suffering in all aspects, she said. Currently, he has a cold and I can't buy medicine, and there are no clothes or nappies. The new mother explained that she often wanders between institutions looking for any assistance, but to no avail. Yesterday, my baby ran out of milk. I went to one of the tents to get 2 spoons of milk to satisfy his hunger. We, the adults, can bear it, but what about the children? Very harrowing, very dire. Over 1 million people are at risk of famine. Over 1 million people are at risk of dying to preventable diseases, to preventable conditions that could have been prevented. I understand there is a war going on. I understand. But the civilians and the children that have nothing to do with this war are taking the most extreme losses. Babies are sitting in torture, waiting. Terrible skin. Infections are reported all throughout Gaza. Many infections, both external and internal, as clean drinking water has become scarce. All necessities of life have become scarce, and the price of what you want to buy has been inflated 8 or 9 times. Nothing is going to return to normal again, because aid is never going to go through border closures. Borders are closed, and some dozens of trucks are let through instead of up to 500. It is a big difference between 28 trucks in a day and 500 trucks in a day. It is unfortunate and a tragedy unfolding day in, day out. Between the bombings, the shootings, tank shellings, people being arrested and taken in most humiliating fashion. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Take care.